player is Mr. Christian Watson, up 8.8 spots. Right now his ADP is 83.8. The Green Bay Packers wide receiver room is a very interesting thing, trying to navigate in terms of fantasy football. It's one thing to do DFS and, say, I'll take Watson this week, I'll take Dobson next week, but to buy in for season long, I feel like some of these guys might eat into each other a bit. But either way, Watson is up 8.8 spots. Pete, I think you said you wanted to discuss Watson because he was your guy.
He's
also, I mean, you were out of the conversation on Pitts, and I'm sure that upset you very much. So,
Well, I know Anthony likes Pitts. I saw his tweet, and I know Steve does too. So I figured let them hash it out. I have three. I've flag plan on three guys so far this year at their cost: Christian Watson, Josh Downs, and it's amazing. I said three guys, and I can't think of the third. But Christian Watson and Josh Downs are guys that I love at their price this year. From a health standpoint, I did some digging into some of the fantasy doctors, right? Watson, there was like that 20% strength asymmetry in 2023, which essentially meant that one of his legs was literally 20% larger than the other. So it's no shock that he was pretty much probably overcompensating for the other leg. And that probably led to a lot of hamstring injuries. That makes a ton of sense. It's down to below 10%, which the fantasy doctors say is drastically lowers his risk of re-injuring. So I'm buying into Christian Watson this year. Some information. You have Jaden Reed, who's going over Christian Watson. Last year in 3 wide receiver sets, Jaden Reed was on the field for 90% of the snaps. Christian Watson, 75. Now, Watson, I think he left some games early, but whatever. The point is, in 2 wide receiver sets, do you know who was the lowest percentage on the field out of all their wide receivers? Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed was on the field for 3% of the snaps. 3% of the snaps. That is scary, guys. I mean, at the cost that he's going for, the number 1 wide receiver in this offense, and he was on the field 3% of the time last year. I mean, that's insane. Christian Watson's a guy, he can be in there 3 wide receiver sets, 2 wide receiver sets. He's the guy that's the favorite target in the offense, right? I mean, his end zone target share was 50% last season, which was one of the highest in the leagues. When he's on the field, like, he is the number 1 receiver in this offense. He led the receivers in targets. He led in yards. He led in red zone usage. He scored 5 touchdowns inside the red zone in the 9 games that he was healthy last year. He scored 4 touchdowns from week 11 to 13. And I got that from my guy, Dynasty Dad, on Twitter. So, like, this guy is the guy to own in this offense. From weeks 4 to 13, he was the red zone targeted 13 times. That was 6th in the NFL from weeks 4 to 13 last year. 6th. And all reports say that I'm reading, Christian Watson is having an awesome camp. He's had at least at least one 40-yard catch, it seems like, in every single training camp practice. I buy into the hype. I'm willing to be let down. If Christian Watson doesn't pan out at 83.8 at his ADP, he's not going to crush my team. And this is a guy that I truly feel like, if he's healthy, can at least sustain a mid wide receiver 2, and getting that at 83.8 in his ADP is a smash for me. And I'm willing to take the chance if he gets hurt. So
there's a reason why I pitched that to Pete first, because Pete was clearly ready to roll. I mean,
that was almost as long as Trump's speech. Went off on
go. Politics creeped in.
I want to add something here, because I've also been buying into Christian Watson heavily. Really, since there was a report that came out, I believe, end of May. And, on the RotoWire show with Jim Coventry, he talks about it a lot. I did my own research. So Christian Watson, his recurring injury has been the hamstring. So he underwent tests, and I'm pulling it up now. There was a hamstring study at the University of Wisconsin. The study is part of a $4 million grant from the NFL to study hamstring injuries and ways to treat and prevent them from recurring. According to Watson, this is from his own mouth, the group of doctors found a large imbalance between the size of his legs, so an asymmetry in his legs. I'm not going to go through all the medical stuff, but basically they want him to get down his leg symmetry because it's almost impossible to get them around the same size, but they want to get his legs around 6% in symmetry of each other. So this is a reason why to believe, hey, if there's ever a season to buy in, if there's ever a reason why to believe, hey, this guy can stay healthy, he's being proactive about his health and trying to stay on the field. And like Pete, I believe if he's healthy, he's the only receiver on the Green Bay Packers who I believe could be an alpha in this offense.
Yeah.
So that's that, check out look up this medical stuff. It's kind of cool, interesting that the NFL is doing this and that there are players who have these injuries trying to keep themselves on the field.
Steve, if you had something to provide on Christian Watson, you can. If not, I'll kick the next player to you. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's all about him staying healthy, and all reports indicating that Dr. Anthony and Dr. Peaches went over. He's fucking got it going. So yeah, I'm buying in. I'm kind of passing on Reed, but don't sleep on Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks too. I mean, these guys you can get even later, a couple rounds later. And I think Jordan Love and that stack, I've talked about this countless times. I think they're going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL this year.
And again, I think I said it earlier, but I've referenced DFS a few times. I do think if they're riding a wave of a certain wide receiver, I love this for DFS. These Packers wide receivers, I will be buying into them because they're probably going to come in at not a big cost. But again, I'm rambling about